Hello and welcome back to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 105. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles and Ted Libby. Ted, how are you? You pitched us on a game, but I want to know how you're doing. You had a big moment before the podcast.
I did?
Yeah,
you
pooped.
Oh, yeah, well, everybody poops.
That's true. You're so relaxed in your chair. I like it.
We're kind of just talking about a game that we're all playing together, and there's nothing else going on. I figured this is more of a late night side escape sesh.
Oh, I like that. That's kind of sexy.
Oh, yeah.
Late night.
Late night. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
After dark.
This is the late night episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 105, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on youtube.com, and that is it. It does not go anywhere else. You only can see our faces. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles, talk about a game-related topic, and what games we are playing. Light today, because we're talking about PlateUp, which is a game we're all playing, and then we're all going to go play after this podcast, which is very exciting.
Right.
James, what is PlateUp? You brought this game to our attention.
Yes.
And how did you hear about this game?
I bring a lot of games to your attention. You know what? How did I hear about it?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about it. I saw it being played on, I think it was Twitch, because I saw a streamer who I hadn't seen in a long time play it, and his name is Sips, and he used to be part of the Yogscast, which is like a very old British big YouTube team, and all they did was play Minecraft.
Okay.
Well, the Yogscast invested some money, and they made a publishing company called Yogscast Games. And so he was out there promoting it, just playing it, and I was like, okay, this looks like Overcooked.
Mm-hmm.
But it had a twist, and it had a twist that we all like.
Mm-hmm.
That is rogue-like elements. So that immediately...
That wasn't the twist that I like.
What's the twist you like?
I don't like that twist.
All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Hold your thought there, Ted.
But yeah, so this is basically an Overcooked clone, and I feel like there's been a lot of Overcooked clones, but none as true to Overcooked as this one is.
If I may, the conceit here is that you get to build your own restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
And so as the difficulty increases, you kind of have more agency to figure it out in your own creative way by building out a kitchen and building out a front of house to try and match what's coming in the front door.
Yeah, the customer level.
I think what Overcooked did is like it basically had levels, and you just have to like beat that level, and it had like custom design, custom everything, and you just did it. And there'd be some elements in here, maybe you had to like be on an airship or everything would move or something like that. But this has more control for the player based on what you get. Like what items can you get? What if you get a counter, you can get some more plates, you can get another burner, you can get some more food, which is pointless because the food you have is adequate. And then you can position where everything is. So being able to position and like have the kitchen how you want it is like the best thing ever. I love like seeing people organize how they want a kitchen. Like I want the oven over here, or I want the burner over here, I want the food over here, I want the plates over here. And then also the same goes for the front of house. So it's not just like before where I believe it was just like here's in Overcooked it was just
a conveyor belt.
And and you'd put the food on the counter and that's it. And then
it goes away.
Served up. But now PlateUp introduces the element of having to physically serve the table and take the orders and clean up and clean the floor. It just there's way more elements, and it's fucking magical. Like it is great how this works, and I feel like I haven't seen like people like butting heads as much as like when we play or like trying to like be like as on the ball. And then when the machine works, like when you get in the moment, get in the groove, it just feels way better than Overcooked. And Overcooked felt great at the start when you would do that, but this is definitely, I feel like if they keep at it, the game companies, it's happening. And they've come out with a lot of recent games from what I looked at, but nothing like as hit as well as this one is. I've seen a lot of people playing PlateUp recently.
Oh, good.
I've gotten a lot of friends into it. I mean, even checked my friends list like before this, and I saw like people playing, and they are loving. I think why this game is doing so well is because of the roguelike elements. Because you can unlock a franchise, you can unlock other dishes to make. You can have different starting layouts. So
yeah, we haven't really gotten to that yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to so much stuff. And then there's things you can bring on your run. You can bring start with a microwave, start with a dishwasher, like these little things. And there's just so many little elements that make it enjoyable. And no run is the same. I feel like there's something that's always thrown in the cards that'll mess you up.
Yeah, it's got a lot of you, at the end of every round you kind of get these cards placed on the floor that then you open up to see what you can upgrade, and you can't always upgrade everything.
Yeah, you can get screwed. It could be like a Binding of Isaac or something. You don't get the item you need. You need a table. You don't get a table ever.
Yeah, because we couldn't get this research desk to upgrade stuff,
Yes.
and it's like that was screwing us kind of towards the end of our last run. Ted, question for you. You said that's not the part I like about the roguelike. How many have you played PlateUp or only with us that one time?
Only with you guys.
Okay. So you played it once, like 2 hour session. We've played it. I've played it twice.
And I don't at all hate the roguelike elements, but it is this idea of like you start fairly easy, and as each day, I believe it's a day, right? It's a work day.
Yeah.
Customers come in, you serve them, and then you slowly get to grow and build your restaurant as you go with upgrades that kind of upgrades, and also there are like these choices that you make of like, do you want to be fancy or do you want to be family focused, which change kind
different
of how
bonuses
customers
and
interact
stuff,
with you.
Cosmetic bonuses.
All of that stuff is really cool. The part that I don't like is that you can play and play and play, and then you can fail. And when you fail, you are cut back to square one.
That is
And a part of me is like, it's really cool in that like everybody is a part of the machine, and if the machine does not work, it is over for everyone.
Right.
That's it's frustrating, of course, but it's also kind of fun.
Because like you were you were the person that wasn't like part of the machine.
Exactly. But then there came an issue like I think our last run where like sure, I screwed up. I still don't know exactly how I screwed up. I think you guys were like, we just didn't serve enough people in the day or something.
That's basically how you lose. Just to explain, like how you lose is if someone is waiting too long, or if you serve their food and the other customer is waiting. Because what happens if you have two customers at a table, you need to serve them both at the same time, or else this meter goes down and you fail. And it's like Ted is saying, the I think the hardcore aspect of this game is it's a one and done.
Yeah,
you can fail in the first 3 days and get a do over. Beyond that, you fail, your run is done. You cannot do it, and you need to survive 15 days.
I think for me that is, I think I understand what you were saying, Ted, with the roguelike aspect of it. I love the restaurant customization and the building out all of that stuff and kind of the additives that have been done to Overcooked. But I do feel that the roguelike nature, because it takes so long, like with 4 people, we failed after 2.5 hours.
4 people,
we failed after a very long time. That it just was like this. It was like a deflating loss.
We failed because there were people waiting outside of our restaurant who couldn't get a table. And so eventually that caused us to fail. And I was like, okay, I was scratching my head going like, well, okay, well, whose fault was that? Was that the kitchen for not producing pizza fast enough?
No, we had plenty of fucking pizza.
Yeah, was that the servers for not getting, and that's both, it's infuriating, but it's also like fascinating of like, I think that's why this game is so addictive. It's because you were constantly thinking about like, oh, what could I do next time?
Exactly. It's like, oh, what did we need, or what could have happened? And that's that's what a roguelike though, because it's just like, okay, what could I have done on that run? Why did I lose?
I think what Ted was saying, and I understand it a little bit, is like a lot of roguelites have this like that loop where you want to go again. Mm-hmm. And I feel like and maybe it was just because it was our first time and we played for so long before we failed.
We lost, I think, on the 14th day.
Yeah, the last round, or the second to last round.
Yeah, second to last round, I think.
And it was for me, it was like a deflating loss where like the gas was like pulled out of my tank with that, not where like I was ready to go again. I was just like, all right.
Another thing with that, we were constrained by the map. There was definitely not enough room front of house versus like you had a huge kitchen. So like, when you get later on, like as you play more, you get huge like maps that you can have as many tables as you want.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing this solo, which it's actually really fun solo. You're cooking and you're serving, and there's it's just
sounds like
giant.
A comedy of errors.
So you can do there's a thing called coffee tables, which we didn't get in that run, which I was like pissed about. Coffee tables are where people can just sit and wait for a table to be available, like a normal restaurant. I don't maybe.
Yeah.
Like a bench. I think a bench would be a good thing if they can add a bench and then have people sit on a bench. Anywho.
No, but I understand.
I just had a bunch of coffee tables in the back because I had so much room, and then just had like 2 or 3 tables, and that's it. Because they would just sit and wait, and then you'd serve them.
Yeah,
and that's what we. But again, you're constrained by space. Is the one thing, but you can manipulate it how you want. You can change the game to be like more to your advantage, whether it's through upgrading, like the upgrade system. That's a really great system. there's things that like you can do to not be dealt a really poor hand.
Yeah,
That's what I'd say.
I think the upgrade system is one of those things that's really cool with this game.
Yeah.
I felt so bad because we played with Hunter our second round, and he didn't get to like see any upgrades because we didn't get this desk, and so I like that you can like you build like a bigger sink over a course of a few rounds, or like
Yep.
you like just how it changes the gameplay up by like getting these additives. I think is really fun, and then there is these different upgrade paths, and you can start to upgrade something, but it gets upgraded to the wrong thing that you don't want, and I think like that is really cool and really unique to this kind of cooking experience.
And there's a lot too. I've had 20 hours in this game, and I would see something I'd never seen before in an upgrade that I didn't know existed because I
Oh,
just
wow.
never gone down that path. Like whether it's like automation or whether it's upgrade this one item that we always use, like the prep station has an upgrade. Like all these little things is like I didn't know existed, and there's so much you can do in a run. Like how you
Yeah,
especially
structured
to
all.
the
Yeah, I will say I really liked the restaurant customization, but less in a realistic sense and much more in like a game sense where like you can get conveyor belts. And
Yeah.
so we had a moment of like, okay, well, how can we like automate the process of like dishwashing
Yeah.
so that I can just throw an empty dish and it automatically is like pushed into the sink. And
Yep.
like little things like that. It's kind of like what Minecraft's Redstone does, where you
Yep.
start to think about these really basic problems in really creative ways
Mhm.
that just makes you sit there in the like in between stages, just like, okay, but if we put it here and do this, we can like, and that I think is what's really cool, and that's the true drive of this game. That's what sets it apart from Overcooked.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it essentially is Overcooked. Like it is
Yeah.
legitimately just Overcooked for the serving
it-
section. But
Is
like
it an Overcooked like?
It's an over. So I was to say, Overcooked is the first to do it. So you have to say it's like an Overcooked clone or an Overcooked like.
I think is it an Overcooked like?
is it a,
It's an
is it a rogue cook?
A cooked light?
A cook light?
It's like Overcooked.
Yeah,
But it's not as like pretty or fancy. Like it's nothing too fancy. It's
that is
pretty
my
good.
one. If I may have a gripe, is that it doesn't even look as good as Gang Beasts.
It's
It's got a
just
very
plain.
It's Gang Beasts
simplistic look
cooking.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it bad or low effort or anything like that, but it's close.
It's ugly. It's an ugly looking game.
It's
an ugly game.
fairly
It's functional.
ugly.
but it's functionally and it's super
got-
fun.
It's got kind of a gross charm to it, but I would still say like it's still a little bit clunky.
Mhm.
Gameplay feels fine,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have that style. And I'm actually really excited because if we're making Overcooked clones, like
We're gonna get there.
the doors are open at this point. Overcooked 3 is probably going to have a front of house aspect to it.
Absolutely. Overcooked
Well,
3 is
yeah.
gonna have this.
I
It's
feel like
gonna
Overcooked
more-
3 should look at PlateUp and like take
Yeah.
a lot from
Mhm.
it.
Oh, you got
And
it.
I'm super excited for that. I really like this as somebody who has worked in the service industry and never wants to work in the service industry ever again. It's very fun to kind of go back to it in this video gamey sense.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for the future of what can somebody bring next to the Overcooked clone.
Yeah, the
table.
genre of cooking puzzles.
The puzzle that is multiple people working together as a machine.
Mhm.
But Overcooked hit gold when they developed that system, and I think that is only like proven more so by this game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Should we bring up our friend Gunner on this game?
Yeah. What did he do?
Well, he has almost 40 hours
Oh.
in this game so far.
Dude, that was just a great story of the fact that James texts us about this game. Like, we're all gonna play this on Wednesday. PlateUp. I'm texting Gunner like Wednesday morning, and he goes, "Dude, you're gonna love PlateUp." And I was like, "Oh, so you've like heard about it?" He goes, "Oh no, we didn't hear about it until James told us." But he goes, "Last night, him and his girlfriend played like 9 straight hours of it." It's like, holy
They
shit!
love Overcooked.
Yeah.
So
And so this
that's why
is-
I was like, I knew that they would love this game, and
Yeah,
he has put in a ridiculous amount of time, and
that's just
It's,
so funny.
I know.
yeah, and I've had friends as well. Like
Overcooked is a weirdly good couples game. At least I don't know. I play with my girlfriend as well,
Yeah,
and it's like a weird. It's kind of like
should play
half
it up.
teamwork, half communication. Like it's kind of a really good spousal game.
yeah. You gotta learn a lot about your spouse.
Yeah,
That's when I
what's the-
learned Maddie and I will
too.
never play video games together.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we
You
learned.
learned some very quick rules about.
Yeah, we played Overcooked
life.
for about 10 minutes, and she's basically was like, I don't like how you're talking to me about this. And I was like, that's fair.
Oh.
Let's just not do this.
Maybe you guys shouldn't run a kitchen.
No.
Run a restaurant together.
PlateUp has definitely taught me that I would never want to just work in a kitchen.
No.
Like, I don't know if it brought like Eric any PTSD just from like playing, but he was doing a great job.
I think it did in the worst kind of way.
Yeah.
In the same way that the way the Hurt Locker ends, where they all end up back.
Jeremy Renner's going back on the plane?
Yeah, exactly. They all end up back in active duty after that movie.
Did Eric go into the kitchen and grab his knife set? And he's like, I gotta go, guys.
He's like, I'm ready. I could do this.
Back to Waterboy.
What a deep cut of the ending of the Hurt Locker. That's incredible.
Well, so I don't know. Jake,
Hey.
how do you feel about this? You have restaurant experience. Like, you're not really running the front of the house, though. So, like, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen. I've only ever cooked in this game, but I've had a blast doing
Yeah.
it. And I'm gonna
That's
do it
funny
tonight.
because I've only ever played front of house, and I kind of only ever want to do front of house.
You don't want to come to the kitchen with me? I was gonna say,
I
just
have
come to the
no
kitchen.
interest
kitchen.
in
Come to
the
the kitchen.
kitchen part. I'm like, no, you know what? I've kind of sort of
We're putting you
learned.
in the kitchen.
I've kind of learned how customers work. I just want to do that.
Let's do that. I
That's how I
think
did.
what I do like about this, like I really like the kitchen aspect of organizing the kitchen. We keep talking about this customization, but like
yeah.
Overcooked is figuring out how do I navigate this unique puzzle that they've placed before me while also doing the cooking thing. Like I constantly think of there's a great level in Overcooked 2 of you are on like 3 hot air balloons
Yes, that's
and
the
they
one I always
shift.
remembered. Yep.
And like that like constantly have to get on to like, oh wait, you got to go to that side because now we need
it's
someone
like,
on that
go
side.
here. Yep.
This game is like using the mechanics of Overcooked but implementing them into like a like base building almost like game where you're
Cooking
like
simulator.
a cooking simulator.
Yeah, you are building the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And
yeah.
I love that aspect of like, okay, wait, no, we need an extra counter here. Let's put a counter here and like
or like actually this works better. Like, and then when you can practice the practice mode.
practice mode.
I love that aspect because it's like, okay, let's try this automation, or it's like, oh, let's try this. Does that work?
Yeah.
The discovery aspect of this game is my favorite part because I am not inclined to just go look something up. Like I'll just be like, okay, let's just try it out and see how it works.
But I
You
don't
spend money though.
with my like restaurant experience. I think which is so funny to bring that up, but I do think that you kind of get like that need to like we got to get this shit out quick. Like comes in like
go.
like really handy.
Customers aren't happy. Come on,
Like I love playing with Gunner.
comp their pay.
But Gunner had never worked. I don't think he's worked like in a restaurant, like a restaurant.
Nope,
restaurant. I know
he's worked
on
in
a food truck, which I know. But like he was like not good at like sticking to his roles. Gunner was all over because in a food truck you're all over.
Yeah, you got to do everything. Yep.
But Gunner is like
because he did everything on the food
right.
truck.
And I kept being like Gunner, your role is not to cut this. Like your role is to be over here. Like I'm trying not to be mean, but like you got to be over here. And I think having that restaurant kind of understanding is really helpful back there. But I think that's
because if you tread in someone else's territory,
yeah,
everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Everything.
So
I stay in your area.
I think that is it's a very fun cooperative puzzle to figure out.
It is, and that's really funny because as front of house, I was just desperately trying to stay in my lane, and James, who felt a lot like my shift lead,
he was
basically like, "Table 4, get over there and fix it. Fix this. Do this. And I'm like, I just want to like hand people pizza. We're doing coffee now. I don't know.
The coffee screwed us.
Yeah,
but also,
but it was very fun.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yeah. So we haven't discussed it, but basically how this works in the roguelike aspect is you get penalties. Like you just can't go through this game all smooth. Like you get these penalties, which could be like you make this food, like or you add this topping, and you can get a reduction in the amount of people that come to your restaurant, or let's say you can't see status on what someone ordered, or you can't see what they ordered from a distance.
Yeah.
Or -1 group size, or +2 group size. Like just these little penalties that stack up over time. So by the time you get to day 14, day 15, you're just serving 30 people,
right?
With like just in like a fixed amount of time with only like 4 tables, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
No one wants to be patient anymore, and they just leave.
Yeah. To parry off of that, James, I think you have played the most out of the 3 of us here.
Oh yeah.
And I was really curious.
I'm playing on my deck.
About. Oh wow. Oh, that's
right here.
That's a side tangent. No, I was really curious. It's not.
James just like stroking it.
You wouldn't really call it. Oh, look how big it is.
It is big.
It is fine.
Jerry Seinfeld over there just
playing
finding the
PlateUp right now.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's
not
not that much bigger than a Switch. Sorry.
No, I'm really curious about like an end game or like I don't know. As someone who's played a
So
lot more
we
of
haven't
this,
gotten to the end game.
Right. You were
Yeah,
saying
is there
franchising?
more-
What is that?
Franchising is the end game. So
Mm.
I'll explain it because we'll get there one day.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
After
with
day
Ted, who
15,
knows?
after day 15, you have these over days. God, I can't remember what they're called.
They call it
I'm trying to look it
overcooked
up.
days?
Overtime. So you have overtime. And so after you get past day 15, you can overtime. So you can overtime day 1, overtime day 2. It's just like continuing your run. You
Right,
just,
Okay.
But it's a victory. But after a certain point, like you have to overtime day 5, I think is a good target for some people. But after you overtime, you have the option to what is called franchise. And what franchising is from your run, you can bring with you, I guess, 3 or so cards from your
Oh.
run. And then those carry over into a franchise, and you'll start the franchise with those cards, I think.
Like
It's
with
almost
those
like
But it
upgrades.
gets
it's
more
like
difficult.
a roguelike prestige mode.
It's a prestige, yeah.
Yeah.
But then it gets more difficult. So you'll start with cards, but it'll also be,
More
at
intense.
a higher level at the start. And then
Yeah.
some of those cards can be really good. Like one of them is like a gold card, which will be like you'll start with 2 random cooking items or something like that, or just some little things like that.
Okay.
And I haven't pursued the franchise yet because what my goal is to complete a day 15 for every single food dish before I
Yeah.
start franchising it. Because then when you go to
Okay.
the franchise, you can select which one of your restaurants that you franchised to
That's cool.
continue on.
Oh, very cool.
And so,
Yeah,
so I haven't done it yet though.
We're a bunch of doofuses running around a kitchen,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there are gamer groups
Oh.
who are very good at flow and communicating.
Yeah.
And I wonder because as you said, I think both runs that we played, we had like one food that was being made with maybe one variation. But you could absolutely see this ballooning out into like almost a real menu or like a lot of different foods that need to be made. Like the difficulty cap here is a lot higher than what we have experienced, and that's
Yeah.
also very exciting, both for
So-
PlateUp and for Overcooked 3.
Mhm.
In my current run that I'm looking at right now, I'm on overtime day 1, and I have cheese board, salad, which is lettuce and tomato, with 2 toppings potentially, onions and olives,
Mhm.
and I have potato salad.
Jesus.
All those foods I'm doing by myself, and you know what? It's fun and it works because if you pick all those foods, what I found is you'll get a significant reduction in the amount of people that come. So if you have to
Ah.
serve 8 people all those foods in one day, it's not too bad. You just have everything pre-prepped. But if you had to serve 30 people one salad dish
That
and
gets
they have a
harder.
choice between just green or just green and red, it's way harder.
Yeah.
So that's what I found is like making all these different dishes, at least by yourself, is a lot easier than taking a penalty for
Yeah.
can't see their order or can't see progress or -1 group size, like stuff like that. I mean, sometimes it's better, but
No, that's
yeah,
interesting.
it's like making all those foods is like it's crazy because it's just like, okay, what do they need? Yeah,
It's a game I constantly look forward to playing. Like every time we talk about it, it's like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this is
And
gonna
then
be fun.
if you have a deck, it's like the perfect deck. Like I've been playing it every night, just getting a run in.
That's great.
Feels really good.
How's it like? How is the Steam Deck just control? I was thinking like does it feel comfortable? Like
Yeah,
like,
feels like
okay.
it feels really comfortable. I think
Okay.
it does have that weight aspect, but it's different from the weight I'd say of the Switch because the Switch does get heavy, but it's very like screen heavy.
Yeah.
Like it's very your weight's all here, whereas the deck has all the weight on the sides.
Okay.
So I think that makes it a little bit distributed, and feels a little bit better, like me playing like on my bed or like playing
Yeah.
right here. So, but it's almost the same weight. Like I've
Okay.
weighed them both. This weighs just a little bit more than the Switch, or at least Switch OLED.
Well, I've
it
put
has
my
the valve.
$5 down on a Steam Deck, so we'll see eventually when I'm allowed to pre-order it.
Yeah,
But
and
I'm very
it's out of the
excited.
box, just works perfect.
I know.
And I know it's gonna get better, and when they're gonna have more options, and
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Ted, do you have any final thoughts about PlateUp before we go play it?
before
No,
you played up.
I'm just very excited for Overcooked 3, and the third competitor to the series, Overtime, coming out soon.
So I wonder if they're gonna
Um,
do updates to this game. Like,
Hmm.
add
Yeah,
more
I
dishes
would
or-
absolutely love a back of house drug problem DLC. I think that would be great.
I think so. I think that at
yeah.
one point the dishwasher should be in the bathroom with the door locked, and the
Oh, yeah, they need to have
manager
a
has to come
bathroom.
and wash the dishes.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
not PTSD. That did not happen to me before.
Legally, you
Legally, I
can't
can't
say
say
if it happened
that.
to you.
But
Well, you
it
can't
happened.
because it no longer
I'm
exists
ready for
anymore, so you
the,
can speak
like-
whatever
Oh,
you
I
want.
can. The whole business is gone. Yeah.
I'm ready for the military sim kind of version of this that's just way too hardcore in all of the wrong ways.
Yeah, can we get the
It's like-
rowdy customer pack?
Yeah.
Yep. The
It's like
rowdy
Ready or
customer
Not,
pack.
but you're in a kitchen. It's a first person.
The send it back DLC where you send it
back DLC. Oh god.
Oh, we're not getting better than that. Thank you so much for watching the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 105. That's Ted. That's James. I'm Jake, and we will see you next week.
Waiter?
Yeah,
It's not cooked right?
it's a little cold.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Is it supposed to be this much bread?
Fry it again.